Hi, this is Boki, and right now I'm just gonna do a get ready with me while I actually get ready to film some other videos. I have two other videos that I am planning to record today. I'm planning to do a not my thesis video about like advice that I wish I had known when I started grad school, and then I'm also gonna be filming my August reading wrap up, but I just wanted to make like another kind of low-key get ready with me just to kind of like chat and shit. It's kind of gross outside because Boston doesn't know actually how to transition between seasons. We kind of just go very abruptly from one season to another, and so like a few days ago was like really nice and warm, and now today it's gray and rainy outside, which is gross. But Boston is also kind of hilarious. If you follow me on like Instagram or Twitter, you know like how entertaining I find the first week of school in Boston. In particular, September 1st is like notoriously kind of a shit show in Boston because all around the city, everyone is moving. Like everyone from like all of these schools, all these students, everything, just September 1st is the big move-in date. And so you'll just see U-Hauls everywhere. You'll see couches and mattresses and tables and chairs just like littered all over the sidewalks. It's really funny. If you were ever thinking about living in Boston, try to avoid a September 1st move-in date if you can, and if you have to, make sure to book your U-Haul far in advance. I've actually had friends who like tried to book a U-Haul a few weeks before and they weren't able to. They actually had to get a U-Haul from New Hampshire to be able to move in Boston on September 1st. It's also like just weird, like around Boston, there's kind of this big emptying of the city at the end of the school year, and then tourists come in and stuff, but it's just not nearly as crowded as when all of the students are here. And so now everyone's coming back and it's just like, oh my god, there's so many people everywhere. I honestly have no idea what I want to do for my makeup today, so if I ever look like I'm scrambling, that's why. It's because I actually am scrambling. It's also been kind of a cool week in science. It's been a really interesting week in science. So I don't really talk about my research, but I might talk about it a little bit about it right now just because I think the stuff that's happening is really cool. This is not related. This is not like my research. I think my research is cool, but that's like not where the big news is. A lot of my research is related to this one specific cancer therapy that has just gotten big FDA approval from one company. Another company just bought out another one to try to get their version of this therapy. So there's just a lot of excitement, and I'm really excited about this therapy overall because I think it represents like a very new approach to medicine. The therapy that I'm talking about, hey cat, can you not do that right now? He always gets really excited when he hears me filming and he just like wants to play. He'll be like sitting quietly with no problem, and as soon as I start talking to a camera, he's like anything on the ground he needs to start attacking. But yeah, so the therapy that I'm talking about is called CAR T-cell therapy. So maybe you've heard about it, maybe you haven't. Maybe you've seen headlines where people talk about using HIV to cure cancer. If you have read that, this is what they're talking about. They're not actually using HIV to like directly fight cancer. They're not like throwing HIV viruses or HIV particles into a patient and giving them HIV. The HIV is actually kind of just a secondary measure to make the therapy work. It's not really the main component. But what this therapy is it actually uses a patient's own immune cells, and what doctors do is they take these cells out of the patient's body and they genetically engineer them to have what's called a chimeric antigen receptor, which you don't really need to know that much about. All you really need to know to understand the therapy is that what this receptor lets you do is it lets the immune cell actually be able to find cancer cells and kill them. And that's incredibly powerful. Our immune system is like, the whole goal of it is to find threats and kill them. Usually does that with bacteria and viruses, but now we actually have, with all the advances we've made in genetic engineering, we've been able to engineer T cells that are or immune cells that are able to find cancer cells, and that's pretty incredible. So this therapy like has had a lot of like major kind of breakthroughs over the past few years. They've seen it work really well in particular against leukemia patients, and there's a few reasons in particular why it's very effective against leukemia in particular. Leukemia in some ways is a very ideal target for this kind of therapy, both for safety reasons and for kind of efficacy kind of reasons. Like it's much easier to target in some ways compared to other cancers. So now there's been like a whole bunch of companies that are racing to get their version of this therapy like first to the market, to get it first approved, all of this stuff. And so there's just been so much news going on this week, and like I said, my research is related to this therapy. I'm not like working on any of the stuff that's like happening. My stuff that I work on in my lab, we're all kind of like interested in like what ways can this therapy be improved upon like in the future, what ways can we improve it, make it safer, maybe make it cheaper, a lot of these kinds of things. So hearing the news about this therapy actually starting to come to the market or potentially coming to the market has been really exciting, because it means that we're hopefully we will have applications like down the road to maybe explore in the lab. There's like a lot of concerns, and so there is a lot of conversation about how expensive this is going to be, and I think that's really going to be the major limiting factor going forward. I don't know if you can imagine this, but genetic engineering is not cheap. Anything that I think can help like against the fight against cancer. Cancer's so enormously complicated and challenging because it changes so much from disease to disease and patient to patient, that having just like anything is really exciting, and I'm really hopeful that this will be something that can be used in patients. But if the cost is high, then any level of success is only going to mean so much. Like even if the therapy works really well, if you can only give it to a few patients, like it's still limiting the overall ability to fight this terrible disease. So yeah, that was like my extremely niche interest that I decided to put right at the top of my get ready with me. I kind of feel like we all have sort of our niche Twitter things that we follow. Like I have like the booktube people that I follow on Twitter. I have like a grad school cohort of people that I follow. I have people that I know in real life, and I feel like the CAR T-cell people that I follow have been like kind of the most exciting over the past week. Not that I'm like ranking you all, but it's just been kind of amazing to see. So yeah, that is the world of cancer therapy. I think I actually talked about this eyebrow pencil in my very first Get Ready With Me, which was when I did my Not My Thesis video about makeup in grad school. So this is the NYX micro brow pencil, and I really like it. And at the time, they didn't have like a real black, like gray black kind of shade. They only had like, the darkest one they had was a reddish black, I guess, kind of shade. I don't know why I just thought about that. This is like going very like into my back files, I guess, of videos that I've made. But yeah, now they actually have it in a black shade, and I'm really excited because it is not expensive and it's pretty nice. And I still can't talk while I do my brows very well. So over the past week, I actually decided to do something that I didn't think I was gonna ever do, which was start watching Game of Thrones again. I think I stopped watching like maybe middle of season 4, it seems like, and I had no interest in watching it again, except at the end of season 6, a lot of my friends told me, like, because I've told people like I'm a Sansa fan, which a lot of people that I know in real life are like really surprised by. I don't know why, but like I guess, I mean, I get why people don't like Sansa. Like I know she was like not great in the first seasons, but like, you know what? You try being a teenage girl. I mean, I guess a lot of people who don't like her have been teenage girls, but anyways, I just always liked her, and I always felt like she had so much potential. I just felt like it was built into her story that she was going to learn, like she's very much about like idolizing a certain kind of femininity, and I thought I had this like feeling that in the long run that was going to play out into her learning how to wield it as like an actual weapon, as opposed to just falling blindly into like other people's traps. And people told me at the end of season 6, they're like, oh, okay, if you like Sansa, you should actually watch it now. And I was like, okay, but I just didn't want to. And then season 7 happened, and I was still like not sure if I wanted to watch it. I finally decided to, because Hulu has that free month of HBO. And I was like, well, if I don't watch Game of Thrones, I'll just rewatch Westworld or something. I just started right with season 6. I was like, I don't really want to deal with season 5. And yeah, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. And season 7 too. Also really hard to talk while doing eyeliner. I think especially one thing that helped is season 6 and 7 are significantly less rapey than Sorry, my cat is running around again. He's like super excited. But yeah, seasons 6 and 7 are significantly less rapey than the other seasons have been, and so I found that much more watchable. I know that it's still kind of a core part of the show, but I appreciated that they were actually showing some, I don't know, development in the women instead of just like having them suffer. Oh my god, cat. I think he's sad because it's harder to see him now when he's like back there. I actually, like, I removed my bed frame, which is why my bed is a lot lower, and so he can't, my cat, I'm just saying he because I'm assuming you know who I'm talking about. But yeah, it's harder for him to be seen back there compared to what it used to be like. And especially because now when I actually film my videos, I film from the bed, like I sit on the bed, and so he doesn't have the same vantage point to show off himself the way that he usually does in my videos. It's been very unfortunate. I'm sorry if you came to watch him and instead you only get me. But yeah, okay, back to Game of Thrones. So season 7 does not make sense. Like the times, the distance, the way like actual human behavior works, I don't think it makes sense, but I really enjoyed it. Like I'm fine with it. Like I think you can suspend your disbelief long enough to actually kind of make something out of the story. But yeah, everyone who told me to watch it for Sansa was completely right. So I realized while thinking about whether or not I was going to talk about my September TBR, my like August wrap up, which I probably won't, maybe I will, I don't know. But I'm reading like 2 books right now that I think have been on the super hyped list. Somehow they just came to me from the library all at once. I'm reading When Dimple Met Rishi, and when I'm reading Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. I think I'm enjoying Gentleman's Guide a little bit more than When Dimple Met Rishi, which also is a little bit what I expected, but I'll see. I have like thoughts about that are like related to being Indian and what it's like looking for representation and like having so few examples of representation growing up, that anything that gets put out there, you put an enormous amount of privilege, or not privilege, enormous amount of pressure on. Hopefully I'll be able to turn that into an actual video, or at least I'll discuss it when I do my September wrap up. I really miss doing book reviews. That's something that I've realized I haven't done in a long time. My reviews are pretty much all in my wrap-ups. I've been doing reviews on Instagram, like when I post pictures of books, I've been doing reviews, and that's been good, like kind of as a quick note-taking. Yeah, I miss doing reviews on YouTube. I've been posting less frequently than I used to. I used to be able to post 2 to 3 times a week, and now I'm like down to once a week, once every 1.5 weeks, kind of, and that's really taken a toll on my ability to do reviews because I have so many other things that I also want to talk about and include, and so I really do want to get back to doing reviews because I miss doing them. I think they're really fun. I think they're also really just helpful for me as a way to get myself to think a little bit more deeply about what I'm reading. Though something that I've noticed is that because of BookTube, I feel like when I read books, I sometimes have a harder time focusing on the book. I think what it is that I start, while I'm reading the book, I start thinking about how I'm going to talk about it when I actually make my videos, and that's kind of not always productive, and it is a little bit distracting, but I think it also happens less with books that are really good. I've been thinking about this. I told her I was going to reference this when I left a comment on her video, and I'm going to do it now. So insert literary pun here. She did a review. I can't remember the name of the book right now, but I will link to it below. It's a book that's part of I think on the Man Booker long list. And she did a really great review with a lot of her kind of mixed feelings about the book. But one of the things that she had in her review was this comparison of reading to sleeping, which is like this idea that when you read, you should really be kind of lulled into this world, and you should have that experience be very smooth. And if the writing is not being effective, especially if it's being distracting, it will kind of jerk you out of your sleep, sort of like a sleep apnea kind of thing. And I just really love that comparison. I highly recommend like watching that review. Like I said, I'll link to it below. And her reviews in general are just really good. And yeah, that's something that I've been thinking about a lot, and I was thinking about it while I was reading Gentleman's Guide today, because it's really fun. I really like it, but there's some things that I'm already thinking about in terms of like how I want to talk about them on BookTube. Like, I'm reading it and I'm like, is this going to be something I'm going to discuss? And in some ways, the fact that I'm having that discussion with myself kind of means that yes, this is something that's bothering me. I just haven't figured out how to formulate it. So now my thoughts are more on what am I trying to think about this book, instead of just, you know, what is this book? Like, what is the story? Am I like just enjoying the story overall? So that's just something that I've been thinking about while I read. Yeah. Doing my makeup without my contacts on, like when I'm wearing my glasses, is such a pain. I'm always have my mirror like up here and just like, ugh. Yeah, anyway, so that is my makeup for today. I am now going to go sit over there and record some videos, talk about some books that I read in August, talk about grad school advice, and yeah. So thank you guys for watching, and I will have one of those videos posted up this week and another one posted up the next week. So yeah, bye.